Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into literally one of antiquity's most shocking, macabrest legends. We're traveling all the way back to the 4th century BCE to uncover a grief so incredibly profound, it actually changed our modern vocabulary. So let's separate the legendary romance from the historical obsession. Okay, let's dive right into this with a pretty wild question. Would you drink human ashes to prove your love? I mean, no way, right? But for over 2,000 years, this dark rumor absolutely defined Artemisia II, the Queen of Caria. Legend says she didn't just mourn her husband, she drank his ashes. She literally wanted to become the living tomb. And look, this wasn't just some random act of despair. It was a highly calculated, symbolic grief ritual. She wanted her living, breathing body to be his final resting place, a literal flesh and blood monument to their love. All right, super quick timeline here to set the stage. Historically, Artemisia and her husband, who, fun fact, was also her brother, started ruling Caria around 377 BCE. Now, sibling marriage was actually a super common strategy back then, just to preserve elite wealth and political stability. But when he died in 353 BCE, Artemisia took total absolute control. And here is our first major plot twist. You see, ancient art and literature love to paint Artemisia as this completely passive, weeping widow. But in reality, she was a fierce warrior queen who was actively governing a major regional power all by herself. Seriously, when neighboring Rhodes sensed weakness and decided to rebel, Artemisia did not crumble. She personally led the military strategy, absolutely crushed the enemy fleets, and maintained an iron grip on her empire. And she did all of this while navigating immense personal tragedy. And this brilliantly illustrates our next point. While she was out fighting wars, she also commissioned a staggering monument for her late husband, Mausolus. Every single time you use the word mausoleum today to describe a grand tomb, you are directly referencing this exact historical moment. It's literally his name. And this wasn't just some standard grave. We are talking about a 45-meter-tall architectural marvel. To put that into perspective, that is nearly 15 stories high. Her grief birthed a structure so massive, it redefined funerary architecture forever. It was so impressive, it actually became one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It was this totally innovative blend of Greek, Egyptian, and Anatolian styles, decorated by the most famous sculptors of the day. Tragically, Artemisia died before it was finished, but the craftsman actually stayed to complete it just in her honor. So, we have a proven warrior queen and an undeniable architectural wonder. But let's get back to the mystery here. Did the central, shocking claim of this legend, the daily drinking of human ashes, actually happen? Let's break down the science. Here's exactly what ancient writers claim happened. Step 1, cremate Mausolus. Step 2, take the ashes. Step 3, mix them into liquid or wine. And step 4, consume gradually. To be perfectly clear, this was absolutely not a normal practice. The Greeks and Romans found this just as shocking as we do, which is exactly why the story spread like wildfire. So the crucial point is, could someone even survive this? Well, hard science actually says yes. Human cremation ash is mostly calcium phosphate and bone minerals. Now, while absolutely not medically advisable, seriously, do not try this at home. Drinking small amounts wouldn't be immediately fatal. But there's a really important scientific nuance here. Ancient cremation left behind larger bone fragments, not the fine ash we think of today. So if this is true, she likely crushed a few fragments into her wine rather than chugging massive quantities. And honestly, there is zero historical proof she ever suffered from any kind of poisoning. Modern psychology views this whole thing through the lens of symbolic incorporation. I mean, even today, grieving people keep ashes in lockets or jewelry just to keep the deceased close, right? Artemisia's alleged act might literally just be the most extreme, ancient version of simply not letting go. That said, modern historians remain pretty skeptical. The direct evidence is weak, and it was mostly written by Romans long after the fact. We know ancient texts frequently blended facts with dramatic political propaganda. And look, we have absolutely zero archaeological proof of the ash drinking. So let's quickly separate the dramatized fiction from the reality. The myth that she was driven completely insane by grief? False. She governed incredibly effectively. The idea she drank all his ashes? Unlikely. Sources suggest tiny amounts at best. And was this a normal ancient practice? Absolutely not. It was completely shocking. So why do we still care about this 2,300 years later? Honestly, because this narrative is just the ultimate synthesis. It's extreme love, undeniable political power, and a literal wonder of the world, all wrapped into one. It's epic myth-making at its absolute finest. The core takeaway from this explainer is this. We absolutely must separate Artemisia, the serious, highly capable political ruler, from the romantic legend. She was a titan of political strategy and architectural patronage, not just some tragic weeping character. Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought. Where exactly does the historical ruler end and the romantic legend begin? Artemisia's real-life actions were honestly just as grand as the macabre myths. It really makes you wonder, how many other powerful figures throughout history have had their true accomplishments overshadowed by a perfect story? Thanks for exploring this with us, and always keep questioning the history you've been told.